Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your October 2018 reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're making our way to a lot of Sagittarius activity, right? We've got Jupiter and Venus coming into your sign, plus you're going to have your solar return in December. But for now, all the focus is still on Scorpio, and for you that lands in the 12th house. We've got the Venus retrograde going on. We've got Jupiter finishing out his business there as well. So there's a lot of kind of stuff. There's a myriad of things that could happen, right? Because Venus represents a lot of different things. She represents love and relationships. She represents money. She represents our sense of self-value and our self-worth and all sorts of different things. And so for each of you, it is going to manifest in a different area. However, what is really going to be asked of you is indicated here with the Six of Pentacles, which is being there for others. And that's kind of your MO. That's something that you're good at, right? We love Sagittarians. You are a caretaker of the zodiac. You do really help others. You do at this time have a lot of wisdom that you can impart upon others as well. And I think people are going to be looking to you for that. And it's important for you to not drown in your own kind of sorrow at this time, even though there's a potential that you may feel drawn to do that. But at the end of the day, you have something of value to give. And it's the right kind of value at the right kind of time when people really need that. And it's important for you to remember that by giving and by being there for other people and helping other people, you are in turn helping yourself. That's one of the beautiful things about the Six of Pentacles is it represents the inflow and outflow. And that if you are in a position to give, well, you give because you know that you will receive in a different way. And so it's selflessness, being selfless at this time, which is going to be really important. You may have to look in the mirror at some point and really ask yourself, what may need to change or what needs to be revised, and what is it in your scripting that needs to be kind of put under the microscope a little bit. And that's perfectly fine. You're in a position right now to really make significant and substantial changes in the direction of your life if you are, for whatever reason, dissatisfied with that. Here comes justice, right? All will be well and good. I'm seeing two scales, and both are upright, both are balanced. Justice indicates things adjusting quickly. So if you need to expend a little bit, right? Again, Venus retrograde, Venus being about money. If you do have to spend out a little bit, please know that it will come back to you. And it's not going to be a huge situation. It just is what it is. It's just a part of life. And justice reminds us of the rhythm, the ebbs and flows of life. It reminds us of our vibratory energy, to keep our heart center in a good, high quality place, in one of love, charitability, and giving, because the more and more you can attune to that frequency, the more likely you are to have things go well for you. And here we have the Four of Swords, which is about meditation. It's about maybe taking yourself out of activity a little bit. I do sense a calm nature about you right now, Sagittarius. Come November, come December, I'm going to change my tune. But for this month, it's really about being pensive and introspective. You're very good at that, right? You kind of have the nice balance between introspective, or rather introvert versus extrovert, right? You're kind of a nice mixture of both, a nice balance of both. So here you are, I think, taking on the more introverted part of your personality. You are thinking about things, you're reflecting on things in the past so that you can make better decisions in the future. You seem to be in a very mature place. I can't say that for everybody. I really, really can't. I think this Venus retrograde, like for example, for me, when Venus entered Scorpio, she came in contact with my Pluto, and I swear I felt like someone attached a cannonball to my feet and plunked me down in the middle of the ocean, and just was like, so there are a lot of people that are feeling that depth right now. You're attuned to that because that's a part of your psychological makeup with the 12th house placement there. So here we have the Four of Coins, which is about stability. It's about stick-to-itiveness. It's about dependability as well. It speaks to our ability to be steady on course. You may feel like now is not a time to make major changes, and I would agree with you. Now is a time for small incremental change, incremental growth. Now is a time to think things through, right? Four of Swords. Always think things through and to not act in any kind of a rash or hasty manner. Being there for people is going to be the best use of your energy at this time. And I know, like you guys, I'm not talking about being there for people who are energy vampires. That's not what I mean. I don't mean that you overgive of yourself to a point where you don't, you're exhausted or whatever. Boundaries are important. And I think the Four of Pentacles comes out and says that perfectly. To be sure that you do maintain your standards, you do maintain boundaries. But at the same time, this month, maybe in some way, shape, or form, it's not really about you, but more it's about what you have to give. And you will reap the benefits of that service in a big way. So if you have a significant other who's really going through something, it is your... maybe this isn't the right word, but I'm going to say it. It's your job or it's your duty to be that support system for that person. If you do feel like you're kind of floundering, I suspect you will have someone in your life that will be there for you. Okay, well, we just got a whole bunch, so I'll take them all, but just one at a time. So we get the Six of Wands reversed. See, when this is in the upright position, I'm like, yes, people are totally in your corner. They are there for you 100%. But when it's in the reversal, it's kind of like it's not about people being there for you. It is that outward kind of thing. These go very well hand in hand. This one has the energy going toward the center person, and this one has the energy going outward from the center. So they're kind of saying the same thing. Six of Wands too, reverse, is an element of humility, remaining humble and remaining grateful. And when you are dealing with issues within a relationship, humility is so critical because when our pride kicks in, we can have, it can put up barriers that are not healthy, right? You can be stubborn and you can be kind of just stuck in your own mindset, in your own way, and then there's no wiggle room to really see it from the other person's perspective. Flexibility is important at this time, and being able to accept the things and the truth that people really might throw at us. Because Venus is doing the retrograde in Scorpio, which is such a sign of authenticity, and I've been saying that for the past few signs. I just did Libra and Scorpio. That's a thing for everybody, is attaining new levels of authenticity to the point where, there's always more true to self that we can be. So no matter how spiritual you are, no matter how evolved you are, there's always a new level. And I think that's what the Six of Wands is really saying is, it's time to get off our high horse and to really listen to what people are saying, and to really accept what they're saying as a version of their truth, not necessarily our own, but of theirs. And the more and more you can attune to other people's truths and other people's perspectives, the more in line you can keep your own perspective. And we get the Queen of Cups, which is a beautiful card. I'm really happy she's been making an appearance this month, because she is very strong and she is very stable. And I mentioned this in Scorpio as well. She's the only court card in the entire tarot that is holding her element, right? Her cup. And her cup looks different than every other cup, right? If all the court cards of the Wands, the Pentacles, and the Swords, those things are the same as everyone else, but her cup is different. She's got like a holy grail, right? She has this key, and for some reason this holy grail has really been standing out. That's not really what it is, but it's kind of what's standing out for me right now with her energy, is holding the treasure. And I think you, Sagittarius, you are holding the treasure, the key. I think you're holding the key to other people's success. I think you're holding the key to your own success, your own happiness, your own joy. And this is a Cancerian quality, which is not necessarily a quality that we associate very well with the Sagittarius, right? It's not, you don't really have a lot of connections going on there. But, you know, the Cancerian quality coming out for Sagittarius is the nurturing quality, the motherly or the parental quality within you, right? Really taking care of people. And coming to a point of perspective where you see people as like, right, like children, right? Children who are growing, and no matter what their age, no matter how old they are, no matter how old we are, there is always growth. We can always attain higher levels of understanding. And to think of others as people who are just going through that process will serve you very well. And that's kind of your calling this month. And I don't really quite know why. I did see that just when I was just kind of looking at the stars. I was like, yeah, you know, plus we've got Mars going through Aquarius. And for you, that happens in your third house. And third house is all about community. Taking care of your community, taking care of your neighbors, taking care of your friends, your networks, the people that mean something to you. And there's so much focus on that. Yes, relationships 100% on the docket, but I think a lot of us are going to have a lot of focus on the friendships too. And they're going to go hand in hand. And your friends are going to need you, like I said in the beginning. They are going to be the ones really reaching out to you in the institutions with the Hierophant. We're getting a high-level institutional quality with both the Justice and the Hierophant card. So on the one hand, this represents the institutions we belong to, our marriages or our relationships, anything with our workplace as well. And I feel like a lot of you are going to spend a lot of focus on really maintaining those and keeping those intact as much as possible. And I think you're the driving force for that. I really do. I think you're going to be the provider of stability for a lot of the activity going on. The Hierophant also represents your inner guru. I always say it's like your inner Buddha, you know, achieving that state of enlightenment. And it always is through the act of service, always, 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 through the helping of others that we in turn help ourselves. And you may need to really step up. And, you know, that's kind of such a hard thing to, when I talk to people who are more aware and who are more mature, because it's usually those people who end up being more accommodating. And is it fair? No, it's not fair. Is it really your responsibility? No, it's not. But because you understand, right? Because you understand what someone else is going through, it kind of is on your plate. It is on your shoulders to bend or to change or to modify your behavior or your speech. And that's kind of one of the downsides, actually, of being more enlightened, right? Is that because other people aren't on your level, you kind of have to adjust to them and help them, lift them up. And it does rest on your shoulders. So if you're dealing with a relationship or, you know, a significant other that's really struggling and having a lot of, you know, roadblocks, and they're kind of coming up against some stuff, maybe they're doing some self-sabotage, maybe they're in kind of a dark emotional state. Here you are stepping up and being like, well, let me help you through this. Let me take care of you. Let me love you. Let me shed my very nurturing motherly quality onto you. Let me just be there. And for most of you, it's really just about being there more than anything else. And the Lovers. See, I'm so happy. Look at how wonderful these major arcana are that are coming out. All upright, all in positive flow. So this is about balance, which is a theme, I think, for a lot of us, because Venus is the ruler of Libra and balance is a thing. So we do have that external, internal thing going on, the microcosm within the macrocosm. And not only will you seemingly, it does really seem like you're going to be in a really great position. And this Jupiter in Scorpio, I think, has been preparing you for what's about to come out during the Venus retrograde. So like I said, it's not really going to be a thing. You've been preparing for this. You're ready. And I don't think that anything is going to surface that's going to surprise you. There's nothing shocking here. So all it's really going to do is reaffirm that you're on the right track and that you're on the right path. And because of this, you are going to reconnect with people in a very powerful way. Especially within your romantic partnerships, where you're going to reestablish a beautiful connection. And you're going to have the opportunity to make things right. They're going to have an opportunity to make things right. I do feel like a conversation is going to flow very nicely. Again, this is an element of Gemini. Here we have a card of Taurus. This being about the speech or the act of creating speech vibrations itself, plus the talking quality of Gemini. So talking is definitely flowing nicely, and there will be a lot of good things that can be accomplished through conversation. And I do think people are bringing things to the table, right? They're coming up, they're sitting across from one another, and they're saying, hey, this is what I have a problem with. And the other person is like, okay, cool. And this is what I have a problem with. And together you seem to be working things out really well, in spite of kind of the, what could potentially be a frustration or a frustrating energy in the stars, is actually turning into a very productive energy for a lot of people because of the Mars going forward in Aquarius, which is all about community and working together. So yeah, there's going to be stuff, but it's easily rectifiable. And then we get the Nine of Coins, which is one of self-reliance. Yes, we love it. Absolutely. I see it as a very Taurus connected thing. We have, again, the resources that you have. This is about you 100%, right? This is you. All right, male or female, irrelevant. This is your energy. You're coming in with kind of you're coming in with the advantage, let's say that. And it's what you do. Some Sagittarians will be immature and they'll kind of hold power over people, and that's fine. But I know that that's not really who my audience is. I know that my audience is more about cohesiveness, And the Nine of Pentacles is all about the beautiful things in life, and it's about what you have to offer. And you do have a lot of resources, you have a lot of knowledge, and you have a lot of solutions. So now's a great time for you to use what you've got. Let's see what else comes out. Let's pull the final three. I don't know why I'm feeling, okay, I'm going to take these three. So here's the thing, here's the stress, and that's fine. The Ace of Cups, reversed. This is kind of the product of the Venus retrograde, right? But again, it's short-lived. It's like an in and out type of thing. I don't really know that a lot of people are going to be dwelling here. You may have a tendency to really sink into some past patterns, especially from last year, to sink back into certain behaviors. But again, I really don't think you will. I think that my Sagittarian people, they've been preparing for this moment, even though they didn't know they were preparing for it, with the Jupiter in Scorpio in the 12th house there. And simply that fact alone, this idea of exposure and kind of letting things out and, the illumination of certain things within the subconscious, it just is what it is. So it's become comfortable at this point. So while there may be a brief moment of stress, there may be a brief moment of anxiety, and there may be a little bit of a fear that, oh my gosh, like if I engage with this person, if I talk to this person about this thing that's been bothering me, what will really happen? Look, you guys, I don't think that anything's going to happen. There's really nothing to be afraid of. And the Ace of Cups is reversed, but it's still there. And whenever I see an ace reversed, I tend to see it just kind of out there a little bit further, right? So like when Venus comes into Sagittarius, which she's on her way in November, when is it November or December? I can't remember exactly when it is, but when she comes in officially, that's when the Ace of Cups will be upright, and you'll have that opportunity to really rekindle, or and I know I'm talking about this in September, and I'm also it's a short-term energy, it's a short-term reading, but it can stretch out over a couple months. I just want to make that clear. I don't think that I've made that clear, that this is going to be attainable for you once you really work through, once you really tap into the Six of Pentacles, right? That question of, what do I have to give? What can I offer this situation? And I do think, like I said before, that you're really going to be taking the time to eject yourself, to really think things through, to allow yourself to process and to meditate and to pray on certain things. And that's exactly what you should be doing, because Sagittarians that act erratically, they're just putting themselves, in the same position that they were in a year ago or 2 years ago. But we know how much progress you've made, and we know how much you've learned. So those Sagittarians that have matured and who have evolved spiritually, they're going to stare at this Nine of Swords in the face. They're going to draw on their resource, their strength resource, and they're going to say, okay, I just need to be strong. I just need to power through, and I need to not keep my eyes closed, even though the tendency is to do that, to hide from the stuff, quote unquote, the stuff. The tendency is to hide from it. But the more and more you hide, the darker it gets, and then the worse it gets later on. So if you just hit it head on, it's no problem. And one thing I'm not worried, because you are a fire sign, that's one thing fire signs are good at, is hitting things head on, being very direct and being very honest. So maybe this is even the energy of someone else, right? And you might need to be responsible for calling people out. Now, you may call someone out. They might not like it. They may be like, oh, that's such a bitch, or what a jerk, or whatever. And that's fine. That's on them, right? The only reason they would be mad about you calling them out on something is because they know you're right anyway. And that's just something that they need to open their eyes to. So it can be your energy. It can be other people's. It can be mutual. It's fine. Ultimately, I see everything working out really, really well. But we'll clarify this stuff in the comprehensive and get more information there, okay? Alrighty, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful month. Take care. Bye-bye.